welcome to part 2 of my Blaming Black Women for Everything series. This is a response to Sergeant Willie Pete and not necessarily all black guys. Alright, next point. When it comes to examining negative black male behavior, you'll look for any and all ways that behavior can be influenced or quote-unquote caused by black women. But when it comes to the negative behaviors of black women, you leave the blame to rest with black women and you don't look for any other causation other than them. Por ejemplo, you say that black women make the complaint that, oh, black guys are in jail, they always go into jail. And you respond with, well, they do these things that make them go to jail for love of black women. Or you say, well, yeah, these guys go to jail, but there's no shortage of black women willing to deal with them. But then you made a video about black women and their weight. And you really just stick it to black women about being a bunch of fat bitches. And it's all their fault because they eat too much and they won't go to the gym. Nowhere in that video did you mention the possibility, and actually the reality, that there may be no shortage of men giving them attention. Meat spicy Cajun. I said it like that because she says it like that. Anyway, this chick has got to be a good 250 pounds. But her fat distributes in a more favorable way than, say, Monique. Like, Monique, she doesn't really have a quote-unquote figure. She's just kind of fat all over. Now, this spicy Cajun chick is fat, but she's a little bit fatter in the ass and the tits than other places on her body, so it gives the illusion of an hourglass. I'm going to put 3 links in the description box. Check them out. Just take a look at all the guys with their jaws on the floor over that ass. Oh, well, they just want to smash. Doesn't matter. It's attention. One of the guys in the links actually pulls down her pants and kisses her ass, literally, on camera. And not only does he like her ass, but he calls her pretty. Now, you've mentioned that black women have used the excuse that they don't want to go to the gym and work out because they're afraid of losing their ass. Look how much attention they get just for having a big butt. Now, since you like to blame things on people, couldn't you not attribute some of the obesity of black women to black men, since they fawn over women with such big asses? If the tables were turned, if it was fat black men and black women were falling all over them being fat, you'd blame the women. And I know you would, because you blame black women for getting black men in jail. The proof is right there in the links, Pete. She's got 50 guys in one video following around and 30 in another. Another dude kissing her ass on camera. Then you want to complain about black women being fat? Show me the shortage of men willing to go after women like that. And I'm not talking about really fat women like Precious. I mean women who are fat with a shape. Women who are fat with fat ass. Why are black men not responsible for this, but black women are responsible for black men going to jail? There is sufficient motivation for women of other races to stay thin. Can you honestly say the same thing about black women? They have just as much motivation as other women to be thin, but they just choose not to? No. The truth is, and you know it, that black women can get men looking like that. And you may say, well, okay, fine. They can get men looking like that, but they can't get me. I like slim women, but they want to throw me under the bus because I won't accept them being fat. Well, that's fine, but when so many other men will accept a woman like that, then they don't understand why you won't. They see it as a minor thing, and if you really love me, you accept me the way I am. You're being shallow. When they're not used to meeting certain standards, they don't understand why they have to now, just because you came along. I mean, it's the same thing when I say I look for a guy who has a certain amount of financial stability. The guys who aren't used to meeting that standard, you're a gold digger. You're shallow. You're bougie. If you love me, you'd accept me the way I are. But here's another thing that doesn't make sense. Alright, let's say a black guy does something illegal to impress a black woman and ends up in jail. You blame that on the woman he was trying to impress, or you say, well, when he gets out, he's going to be able to get plenty of chicks, so it's the black woman's fault. But if a black woman accepts the attention from a not-so-good guy because he was sweating her, and she ends up with bad consequences, well, she should have picked a better man. Now, why shouldn't the black guy have picked a better woman to impress? Why is it only the woman's responsibility to pick a better mate? And again, you believe in male leadership, right? Also, you hold women responsible for being able to decipher what's a good man and what's a bad man, but you don't hold the men responsible for following the law or breaking the law. There ain't a single MF out there who committed a crime to impress a woman that didn't know what they're doing was wrong. Why is there no responsibility on them from you for them to do what's right as opposed to what's wrong? The law is very clear. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not sell drugs. But when it comes between deciding whether a guy is good or bad, now sometimes it's very obvious, I'll give you that. But sometimes it can be hard to determine that depending on how slick the guy is. You act like women are choosing comic book character villains where they just state right out what their scheme is. I'm going to take over the world. Ah, ha 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 ha. No, sometimes they lie and mislead the woman. You're not supposed to do that. I've been lied to and misled by guys, and it wasn't because I was stupid or because I chose a bad guy outright. One of the guys I was subscribed to before his channel got nixed was 007 the Asian Lover, and he even had a video saying it's okay to lie to women. And he gave his reason for it, but it's still lying, it's still deceiving a person. If you did stuff like that in a business setting, if you lied to clients or lied to one of your business partners, they could take you to court for that, assuming they could prove it. And back to men going to jail behind impressing a woman. Y'all try to excuse that by saying, well, men have a need for sex, they can't help themselves. Women have a need for men, and you can say that their need is love or sex or whatever. But nature made the sexes want each other. If women did not have a hunger for men, a need for men, then the species would end. I get so tired of you guys making the argument that for men, when it comes to women, they just can't resist. Well, you would have to say the same thing about women. For reals, if women did not have a hunger for men, the species would end. Now, me and you had this discussion a while back with Cap as the moderator, and we were kind of trying to figure out who was to blame for the state that the black community is in right now. I think it was that blame was assigned to the men of yesteryear, and then to the women of yesteryear and today, but then the men of today, the young men, they were being held blameless. Now, you've admitted that upper echelon men can be players. Is it any more or less than any other group? I'm not here to argue. Whatever. You just at least acknowledge that they can be players. That is a contribution, no matter how small, to the problem. Because how do the women feel when they get played? Do they feel good? No, they feel hurt. That contributes to bitterness and baggage. Now, their fathers may have gotten that ball rolling, but dealing with men who cheat, or the nicer word is play, that makes the snowball get bigger. It makes the distrust of men grow deeper. And since black men are the only men that a lot of these women deal with, they say black men cheat. If you admit that upper echelon black guys are playing, which is just a pretty way of saying they're screwing somebody over, you can't say that that has no effect. Again, they may not have been the original screwer-overs of the women they screwed over, but they're keeping the ball rolling. Alright, this is the end of part 2. Stay tuned for part 3.